I think we've probably done 2 or 3 videos over the past couple of years about this, where some lawmaker somewhere complains at what's going on, the slippery slope. If we allow people to choose their own pronouns, we allow people to, in any way, get any type of health care. Now, I want to start with JD Vance. Any health care for their body dysmorphia or trans, their feeling of being trans, then it's a slippery slope. Here is JD Vance. Now, was this from years ago?
This was like last week.
Oh, this was just last week.
Huh.
In America. Did they have the internet? Did that exist last year? I mean, last week?
I think so.
Okay. All right. So here's JD Vance. He wants to be a senator of Ohio. This is the guy who was the erudite writer of Hillbilly Elegy. Also, a big hedge fund guy, one of the funders of Rumble, in fact.
Business partners with Teal.
Business partners with Teal. An educated man.
Also, the guy, hasn't he been talking about all the fentanyl coming over the border, and he just had to cancel a fundraiser that he had with one of the top pill mill doctors who was named as giving out opioids at a disproportionate rate, but only because the news reported on it? That's the same guy. Huh?
Ohio might be the second biggest state, the second state hit the hardest on a per capita basis by the opioid crisis.
So the same guy we're all talking about here.
This is Googleable, folks. In fact, NBC just did close the door on this, but here is JD Vance. Listen to what he's mad about 2 weeks out from the election.
It's a story out of Mason, the home of the Comets, in which there are some students who identify as cats, and they bring kitty litter with them to school. And some identify as dogs, and they have to be called Fido and little pussycats instead of human beings. Now that is ridiculous. But one of the worst things is if they do not use the proper preferred nouns and pronouns of other students, K through the 12th grade, schools will be required to socially transition using child-selected names and pronouns in school. Minor kids like yours, JD Vance, will not be notified if your child wants to socially transition to a different gender or to an animal species. You talk about a difficulty as a father and mother. Should you be entitled to know if your 7-year-old identifies as
Pause it for 1 second. Did he just refer to JD Vance as a father and mother? Whoa. All right.
It gives away everything that they have to bring in this litter box thing, because I think subconsciously they realize if they said the social transition thing and left it there, like this class is going to say she instead of he, then no one would give a F at all.
They absolutely have to create literally that it's raining cats and dogs. This is exactly what they said about marriage equality. Exactly the same stuff.
Slope. Like
literally they would say it's going to rain cats and dogs.
And then people are going to start marrying their pets and their plants.
Exactly. I mean, this is so it's so lazy, but it's also, if they all just pretend it's real, then it's effective. Like, this guy did not get the report from anywhere because it doesn't exist. He made it up, or he just looked at some bullshit right-wing website and is reading it as fact. And watch JD Vance. Let's see if he bites. Maybe he's reasonable about it.
Animal species. You talk about a difficulty as a father and mother. Should you be entitled to know if your 7-year-old identifies as a chipmunk?
I think I'm very much entitled to know that. And what a crazy point we've reached in this country, Willie, where schools are doing this stuff without the approval of parents. Schools are doing this at all, much less without the approval of parents.
It would be crazy. It would be crazy if, kids. And honestly, hey, they want to dress up like a dog or a cat. That's fine by me. I mean, but it's not happening.
Well, also, you shouldn't be pooping in the classroom.
Well, and I'll just note
That's a good point, Sam.
on behalf of furries, who, as far as I know, aren't taking over public schools, but even furries, like the adults that dress up in costumes for animals, they don't piss in litter boxes. They actually use bathrooms, as far as I know.
Yeah. I can't wait to protest out in front of my kid's school when they do like pajama day or something like that. But look, we have seen right-wing politicians, multiple right-wing politicians, cite this sort of like urban or rural legend about furries, about schools having to provide litter boxes for students because they're identifying as cats now, or they're identifying as dogs now, all as a part to scare people about trans folks. Now, we've seen this time and time again with right-wing politicians. Are they lying, or are they just incredibly lazy? I mean, to be fair, you're a right-wing politician. Maybe you're just immersed in right-wing propaganda, and that's all you do. It's not like these people are like professionally pretending to like, or even engaging in like interviews with political figures, let's say, or ostensibly have massive audiences, or, you know, who are relying on your information as being accurate in some way, because maybe you've made it clear in the past that you're going to fact check things that you do, because maybe you've said some things in the past that were absolutely wrong and maybe dangerous in some respects, maybe having to do with COVID. I'm saying, like, I'm not forgiving the right-wing politicians who keep doing this over and over again, despite the fact that it's been debunked 100 times. I guess what I'm doing is setting up this clip with Joe Rogan. Here he is with, Joe Rogan is with former presidential candidate and now no longer a Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard.
There's kids, ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher. And she works at school.
Now pause it. Now, we're going to put up a story done by NBC News.
Ben Collins, yeah.
By Ben Collins. But this has been debunked years and years ago. So let's just start with, now he is claiming he has what sounds like almost first-hand information that about this stuff. So is it like, this is how credible he wants to make this.
That had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered the school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. Yeah. So this girl goes into the litter room, or to the girls' room, and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross. You know what I mean? Like, if you could teach your cat, by the way, here's the thing. If you could teach your cat to use the toilet, you would. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a box of piss in your house. It's the worst. I've had cats my whole life. It's the worst thing about having cats. You got to clean that box of piss every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's the greatest thing about dogs. They go outside. Like, you're a fucking
The
human.
cat's got their humans trained.
Imagine how crazy that is. You're a fucking human being, and you prefer a litter box. You want to piss into a pile of sand rather than use a bathroom that you could flush the toilet, wipe yourself like a normal person. Like, you're so crazy with what you think an animal is that not only have you said this, but you've conned the school into putting this fucking litter box in a girl's room.
Yeah.
This is positive. This is an attack on schools as well. Like, this is also an attack on trans kids, but this is really about the teachers are letting the lunatics run the asylum, and we need to basically stomp teachers' unions and instill some discipline. That's why the CRT stuff is coinciding with it.
And there's different kinds of teachers that are going to be a bit more amenable to this, right? Say you have a pride flag in your classroom, you're probably going to be the kind of teacher that lets the kids shit in the litter box. It's just ridiculous. Like, they're trying to undercut teachers unions, public education more broadly, and like the most vulnerable people that they can target first are LGBTQ teachers.
Yeah, like what you said about the rural legend. I was talking to Chris down in Texas, and like Texas and rural areas, they like their public schools, and this is just an explicit strategy by the right to attack that.
Apparently, the litter box story comes from one school that was keeping litter in buckets and pop-up tents in their classroom in case there was a lockdown.
Yeah, at
Yes.
Columbine.
In the same county or whatever as Columbine.
But what's amazing
they're
is
attacking the Columbine kids because they had preparedness. I mean, this is again what Ben Collins came up with for NBC.
But I don't want to forget this one point.
Yeah,
He is lying
that too.
about that he has almost like firsthand confirmation of this. And then maybe he'll end up going, well, it turns out my buddy is just, was jerking me around and I didn't really check it. I didn't ask a single question about it. However, I mean, and he won't have to account to it now. Spotify has decided they are absolutely not responsible for a total propaganda going out on their thing. And let's be clear. This isn't Spotify just acting as a platform. They pay him. They're publishing this. This isn't, we have commenters on our website for our newspaper commenting on an article. This is, we're paying the op-ed person. The idea that they get away with this, it's one thing to say, okay, uploaded content from people that we have no relationship with so that we can be an open platform. But they are paying for this. They are supporting it. They are profiting off of it. This is Fox News level stuff. I don't know what the difference is between Fox News' relationship with Tucker Carlson and Spotify's relationship with Joe Rogan.
It's almost worse because Rogan is trying to launder like his cachet as some sort of like comic or media personality to make himself an everyman, where he's literally straight up lying about personal experiences in order to give a bigoted narrative credibility.
Yeah, that's it. Fox is burned, as everyone understands it, as right wing, even the audience, but Rogan isn't that.
Right, exactly.
And the reason they had cat litter in those schools, just to be clear about it, was because it was a part of, quote, go buckets that contained emergency supplies in case students are locked in a classroom during a shooting. The buckets also contain candy for diabetic students, a map of the school, flashlights, wet wipes, and first aid items. And this is what they're hanging their hat on.
Next thing you know, people are going to be identifying as, as diabetics just to get candy.
Next thing, people are going to be identifying as alphas just because they took a fucking pill.
It's exactly. I mean, it really is just, and it's almost like he was so desperate to impress Tulsi Gabbard, who is also, transphobic.
Yeah, freak.
There you go. I mean,
goodness. I mean, that is the lie. There is really, I think, the news. Like, not that Joe Rogan peddles right-wing bullshit, but that he's willing to like put his credibility on the line for it.
Yeah.
I got hoodwinked by my friend who is also a right-wing lunatic and just knows that I will launder anything. Unbelievable. Well, I mean, it's not that unbelievable, but it's unbelievable.
Sad.